So Dale McCluskey did a response to my video that I made about our differences using a leash, and I'm going to have to challenge Dale to a debate because, he wants to accuse everyone else of cherry picking his footage and making general statements about what he does, but that's exactly what he did with the clips I provided in my voiceover. He's cherry picking things, and he has not watched any of my content, and I know he hasn't. He likes to watch the videos I do where I'm calling out like Robert or Mark, but he's never actually watched me work through a process. So who is Dale to really tell me that I don't understand what a process is? Or I answered his question, very specifically, and as I had predicted, he wants to dismiss it and basically wants to lump me in the same category as all the other people that he says don't know what they're doing. Now, what I also find interesting is that Dale wants to dismiss my statement where I said that I've consistently demonstrated that what I know and the way I do things, I've been able to repeat from dog to dog to dog and get the same results from dog to dog to dog and from owner to owner. But he says, well, the results are meaningless because based on what? If you can't answer this question, well, Dale, I answered the question, and I don't think you like the fact that I answered the question, so you want to dismiss it. I think you don't want to accept that there may be something better out there and that maybe you're not sitting at the top of the mountain like you think you are. But furthermore, Christian was correct in pointing out the connection and the relationship that I have with Grey Goose, which I had with my previous two dogs, and that I don't need to put Goose on this baseline. For what? But then Dale wants to say, well, how did you get there? Well, Dale, I'm very transparent with my work. If you want to see how I got there, I have 230 videos showing every little bit of information and every little thing that I do with any dog that would show you how I got to the other side. How did I do this with Grey Goose? I do the same way with Grey Goose as I would do it with any other dog, but I tailor it to the individual dog. Not every process is going to be the same, and I don't use the same methodology for every dog because we have to acknowledge that dogs are not all the same. They're the same socially. They all have the same social hardwiring, but they're individuals at the same time. But I've had a couple people reach out to me since this conversation has been started stating that they bought your training courses and that they didn't get much out of them because you have this one system rules all mentality where you believe your method and your way of doing things should apply to all dogs, and they said that that way of thinking did not benefit them. And I would have to agree, that is not the truth. There is truth when it comes to working with dogs, Dale, I would agree, but that is not one of those truths. And I never made the statement that there's more than one way to train a dog. I've never said that. What I'm saying is that you have to tailor things to that individual dog, but your foundational knowledge still has to be the same. They also made the statement that, your training is like ruling with an iron fist, which if you're really taking the authoritative path, Dale, that sounds to me more like an authoritarian path. That is not the authoritative path. So I'm gonna have to call you out for that. But this seems to be very hypocritical to me, Dale, because you're accusing other people of cherry picking your videos and only pointing out the clips where you apply all this tension to the dog. But well, that's not the end result, and you're only seeing one part of the process. But Dale, you never show any other part of the process. Can you please point me to a video where you have dogs off leash, or can you show the end result of what your process produces? I have not seen that yet. So what is anyone else supposed to believe but that's all you show? Now, like I said, you have a lot of videos, or you've had a lot of videos, so maybe there is something somewhere that I've missed. So please, if you could show us that, what does the dog look like on the other side? Off leash, in public, around dogs, around prey animals, what have you, to show that your way of doing things and your understanding is in fact superior, because I've shown that and produced that with more than one dog. But something tells me, Dale, you only were wanting to kind of bring me on and have these discussions with me and kind of align yourself with me because I was starting to make videos on Mark and Robert again, which I had stopped doing for a while. That seems to be the only reason you were showing more interest in my work again, was because I do rail against these people. But when it comes to the way I do things and my understanding, now you want to express discontent, or you want to express that I don't know what I'm talking about. And I'm sorry, Dale, but nothing could be further from the truth. And after seeing this, Dale, you scanned over Brandon Fouché's page and you made a lot of assumptions about what Brandon does, but you didn't, as far as I know, you didn't watch any of his videos. And Brandon's a guy you got to spend time diving into his content to understand what it is he does, because it's at a really, really high level, the understanding he has of dogs. You accuse everybody of being egotistical, but it seems to me that unless everybody does everything exactly the way you do it, then they're not doing it right, or they don't understand dogs, or they don't understand influence and control. So I think this is something worth debating, because it's not productive to take things out of context from my work, Brandon's work, or really anyone else's work, and make general statements about it when you don't like it when other people do that to you. So Dale, I would love to debate these things with you, as I said. So make a response video, send me an email, let's get it set up, because as you have said, if even one dog is taking the hit because of something we're putting out there that is incorrect, then we should stop everything we're doing and we should re-examine these things. So let's debate these ideas, these methods, and let's see if we can arrive at some kind of truth for the general public, because people are desperately searching for answers, and I think conversations like these are important.